Caryn Chandler has officially given birth to a baby boy again. But this boy is not Matt Roloff's. But whose is this boy? I will explain everything. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we have some surprising and emotional news coming from the world of Little People, Big World. It's about Caryn Chandler, yes, the longtime partner of Matt Roloff. The internet is buzzing because Caryn has reportedly given birth to a baby boy. But here's the shocking twist. The baby is not Matt Roloff's. So what's really going on here? Who is this baby's father? Let's get into the full story. If you've been following Little People, Big World, you already know that Caryn Chandler has been part of the Roloff family story for years. She started out as the manager of Roloff Farms, and eventually, her friendship with Matt turned into a romantic relationship after his divorce from Amy Roloff. The two have been together for several years, and fans have seen their relationship grow both on and off camera. They've also been talking about getting married and building a life together in Arizona. So naturally, when news broke that Caryn had given birth to a baby boy, fans were stunned and confused. At first, many assumed this must be the long-awaited baby that she and Matt were secretly expecting. But as details started to come out, it became clear that this wasn't the case at all. The baby isn't Matt's, and that revelation has left viewers full of questions. Let's go step by step through what we know so far. Sources close to Caryn say she recently gave birth to a healthy baby boy, and both mom and baby are doing well. The birth reportedly happened quietly, without any major public announcement. People around her described the atmosphere as calm, but also emotional. Caryn, who's in her 50s, has always been very private about her personal life outside of Little People, Big World, so this sudden baby news came as a total surprise. Now, fans immediately began asking, could Caryn have used a surrogate, or perhaps the story has been twisted somehow? Well, according to reports, Caryn did carry the baby herself, which is unusual but not impossible for someone her age. Medical advances have made it possible for women in their late 40s and even early 50s to give birth, especially with fertility treatments or donor eggs. But the bigger question still remains. If the baby isn't Matt Roloff's, then whose is it? At first, speculation went wild online. Some fans wondered if this could be an old story resurfacing, maybe a child from Caryn's past that she recently reconnected with. Others thought perhaps there was some sort of misunderstanding. Maybe the baby belonged to someone in her family, like her son or daughter, and the story got twisted. But from what's been shared by people close to Caryn, that doesn't seem to be the case. Apparently, the father of the baby is someone new, a man Caryn has been quietly seeing for some time now. Reports suggest that while she and Matt have continued to appear together publicly, their relationship has been more complicated than people realized. Behind the scenes, they may have been taking a break, or even living separate lives. Some fans noticed that Matt and Caryn hadn't been seen together as often lately, especially during the most recent filming breaks of Little People, Big World. Matt has also been spending a lot of time working on Roloff Farms and dealing with ongoing family issues involving his sons Zach and Jeremy. So, could Caryn and Matt have quietly split up?
It's starting to look that way.
Insiders say the two have had their fair share of challenges over the years, especially with family drama, long-distance living arrangements, and constant public attention. Caryn has wanted a simpler, more peaceful life, especially as she's gotten older. Matt, on the other hand, has been very focused on his projects, his farm, and even hinted that he wasn't sure he wanted to start over with a baby at this stage of life. That difference in priorities might have caused a quiet drift between them. As for the father, not much is known about him yet. He's reportedly not a public figure and prefers to stay out of the spotlight. Some reports say he's someone Caryn met in Arizona, where she spends a lot of her time. The two are said to have developed a close friendship that eventually turned into something more serious. Friends describe him as kind, supportive, and very private, exactly the kind of stability Caryn was looking for. If that's true, it means Caryn's life has taken a major turn. She's now a new mom again, possibly co-parenting with a new partner, and her relationship with Matt Roloff may have come to an end quietly. For fans of the show, this is a big shift, since Caryn has been such a central figure in Matt's storyline for years. It also raises questions about whether she'll continue to appear on Little People, Big World, or if she'll step away from reality TV altogether. For now, neither Caryn nor Matt has made any official public statement about the baby or their relationship status. Matt has been posting updates about farm life and projects, but he hasn't mentioned anything related to Caryn's big news. On her side, Caryn has stayed completely silent on social media, which makes sense given the sensitive nature of the situation. Some fans are giving her space and offering congratulations, while others are confused or even disappointed, wondering what this means for the future of the Roloff family. It's also worth mentioning that Caryn already has grown children from a previous relationship, so becoming a mother again at this point in her life is definitely unexpected. But those close to her say she's overjoyed and taking the experience with grace and gratitude. They describe her as glowing and completely focused on her newborn son. In the meantime, the Little People, Big World fanbase is divided. Some think this will mark the end of Caryn's connection to the Roloffs and possibly her appearance on the show. Others believe that the network might even explore this storyline if Caryn agrees to share it, though given how private she's been lately, that might not happen. Either way, it's clear that her life is entering a brand new chapter. So, what happens next? Will Matt and Caryn go public about their breakup? Will Caryn's new partner eventually step into the spotlight? Or will she choose to raise her baby quietly and step away from fame completely? Only time will tell. For now, we can say one thing for sure. Caryn Chandler's life has changed in a major way, and the story of the Roloff family will never be quite the same again. At the end of the day, no matter what people say or speculate, a new baby is always something special. We hope Caryn and her little boy are doing well and surrounded by love and support. Life has a funny way of surprising us, and maybe this is just another reminder that even after years in the public eye, everyone deserves a chance to start fresh. There's no denying that Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler have become two of the most talked about people on Little People, Big World. Over the years, fans have watched their relationship grow, while the rest of the Roloff family has faced some serious tension. But along the way, there have been a lot of moments where viewers felt like Matt and Caryn acted pretty cold or heartless, especially toward Amy, Zach, and even other members of the family. Today, we're going to go through 10 times they really seem to show no empathy at all. Let's start with one of the biggest issues, the whole farm drama. When Matt decided to sell part of Roloff Farms instead of working out a deal with Zach or Jeremy, fans were shocked. Zach had been open about wanting to buy a portion of the property to keep it in the family. But Matt made it clear he saw it as a business transaction, not a family legacy. What made it worse was that Caryn seemed to fully support him in that decision. Viewers thought she could have encouraged Matt to compromise, but instead, she stood by him while the family fell apart. Many fans said it looked like she cared more about the money than about keeping peace in the family. Another moment that rubbed people the wrong way was when Caryn and Matt talked about Amy moving off the farm. Amy had lived there for decades, raised her kids there, and it was her safe space. But Matt seemed impatient for her to leave, and Caryn didn't exactly hide her relief. In fact, she even made comments that made it sound like she couldn't wait for Amy to move so she could spend more time on the property herself. A lot of viewers found that pretty heartless, especially since Amy was going through a tough divorce and trying to start over. Then there was the infamous engagement speculation. Fans remember when rumors spread that Matt was planning to propose to Caryn right after Amy got engaged to Chris. The timing felt really insensitive. Even if it wasn't intentional, it came across like they were trying to one-up Amy or steal her moment. Instead of celebrating Amy's happiness, it felt like Matt and Caryn were focused on making their own headline. For longtime fans, that move seemed cold and petty. One of the saddest moments came when Zach and Tori's relationship with Matt and Caryn completely fell apart. Zach opened up about how negotiations for the farm got so tense that they stopped speaking to his dad altogether. What shocked fans most was how little effort Caryn seemed to make to mend things. On the show, she often acted like she didn't understand why Zach and Tori were upset. Some viewers thought she played innocent while quietly fueling the divide. It's one thing to stay out of family drama, but her lack of empathy really stood out. Another example is when Caryn made subtle digs at Amy on camera. She often acted polite on the surface, but made comments that felt condescending, like joking about how Amy handled things on the farm or how different things were now that Matt was in charge. These little jabs didn't go unnoticed by fans. Many felt that Caryn seemed to enjoy reminding Amy that she had taken her place, both in Matt's life and around the farm. Even if it wasn't meant to be cruel, it came across that way to a lot of viewers. Then there was the time Matt bragged about all the improvements he was making on the farm after Amy left. He seemed so proud of turning his property into something new, but fans pointed out that he showed zero sensitivity about what it meant for Amy to see her old home being changed like that. Caryn, of course, was there through it all, helping with the remodels and posting cheerful updates on social media. To fans, it felt tone-deaf. They thought she should have realized how painful that might be for Amy and the kids to see. The way Caryn and Matt handled criticism online also rubbed people the wrong way. When fans called them out for being insensitive or greedy, they often brushed it off or acted like everyone else was overreacting. Instead of showing some understanding, they doubled down. For example, Matt often defended himself by saying it was all just business and that no one understood the full story. Caryn liked to post cheerful photos that made it seem like nothing was wrong. To many people, that kind of attitude just made them seem even more disconnected from how their actions affected others. One of the most awkward things came during family gatherings on the show. Whenever Caryn and Amy were in the same space, the tension was obvious. Caryn often sat quietly, but her facial expression said a lot. Viewers noticed how cold and distant she looked, like she didn't even want to be there. And instead of trying to bridge the gap, Matt usually just ignored the awkwardness. It was like neither of them cared how uncomfortable it made everyone else. A lot of fans felt that showed a real lack of compassion. Another time that made people cringe was when Matt and Caryn started planning their dream home on the farm property. They were talking about their future while knowing full well that Zach and Tori had walked away from that same land feeling rejected. Fans thought it was heartless for them to celebrate their big plans while the rest of the family was still hurt over what happened. It was almost like they were rubbing it in, living their dream at the expense of everyone else's disappointment. And finally, one of the most recent things that left fans shaking their heads was when Caryn made it clear she didn't want to film much anymore. Some thought it was because she didn't like how people viewed her, but others felt she just didn't care about being part of the family story unless it made her look good. Even Matt's kids hinted that Caryn had distanced herself from them. Instead of trying to fix things or show she cared about the relationships, it looked like she was just walking away. To a lot of longtime viewers, that felt like the ultimate heartless move. When you look back at all these moments, a pattern really starts to form. Whether it's about the farm, Amy, or the tension with the kids, Matt and Caryn often seem more focused on themselves than on how their choices affect others. Sure, every family has drama, and reality TV doesn't always show the full story. But over and over, their actions come across as cold and unfeeling. Fans who have watched Little People, Big World from the beginning can't help but miss the warmth and togetherness that once defined the Roloffs. Maybe Matt and Caryn don't mean to come off that way. Maybe they just handle things differently. But perception matters, and right now a lot of viewers see them as two people who lost touch with what really made the show special: family, forgiveness, and heart. Whether they can ever rebuild those connections or change how people see them remains to be seen. But for now, it's hard to ignore all the times they've seemed totally heartless. Chris Marek might not have been a familiar face when he first appeared on Little People, Big World, but over time, he's become an important part of the show and of Amy Roloff's life. Fans have seen him transform from a quiet new boyfriend into a supportive partner and eventually Amy's husband. But who exactly is Chris Marek, and what do we really know about him outside the cameras? Chris Marek is a real estate agent from Oregon who built a successful career long before he met Amy. He's known for being practical, calm, and easygoing, qualities that are pretty different from Amy's more emotional and outgoing personality. Chris grew up in the Pacific Northwest and has lived in Oregon for many years. He's an outdoorsy guy who loves adventure, travel, and riding his motorcycle, something he's been passionate about since he was young. Before meeting Amy, Chris had spent most of his life as a bachelor. He had dated before but never settled down, and he once admitted that he wasn't sure marriage was for him. That changed when he met Amy. Their story actually started at a local singles mixer, not long after Amy's divorce from Matt Roloff. Amy wasn't even sure she wanted to date at that time, but Chris made her feel comfortable. They hit it off quickly, bonding over shared interests like exploring new places, good food, and meaningful conversations. At first, fans weren't sure what to think. Amy was newly divorced, and people were protective of her. Some thought Chris might not understand what it meant to be part of such a well-known reality TV family. But over time, he proved himself to be kind, respectful, and genuine. He didn't rush into anything and seemed to give Amy the space she needed to heal and move forward. One of the things people noticed about Chris early on was how down-to-earth he was. Even though Amy was a TV personality, he didn't act like someone chasing fame or attention. In fact, he was hesitant to appear on Little People, Big World at first. But because Amy's life was such a big part of the show, he eventually joined her on camera. Viewers quickly saw that he was patient, funny, and easy to like, that Chris's relationship with Amy was built slowly and steadily. They spent time getting to know each other off-camera, traveling around Oregon and meeting each other's friends. Amy has often said that what drew her to Chris was his calm nature and the way he made her feel safe. After going through a painful divorce, she needed someone who wouldn't rush her or make her feel judged. Chris seemed to understand that perfectly. As the relationship grew, fans also noticed how different Chris was from Matt. Where Matt can be intense and always focused on projects or ideas, Chris is more relaxed and enjoys the moment. That difference helped Amy open up and experience life in a new way. He encouraged her to try things she had never done before, like motorcycle rides, road trips, and spontaneous adventures. Chris proposed to Amy in 2019 after about 3 years of dating. He planned the proposal carefully, making sure it was intimate and special. He asked her to marry him on the eve of her birthday, and she was completely surprised. Amy shared later that she didn't see it coming at all. Fans loved how emotional she was and how happy she looked. It was a touching moment that showed how far she had come since her divorce. Their engagement was celebrated on Little People, Big World, and it gave fans a chance to see more of who Chris really is. He wasn't overly dramatic or flashy about it. He just seemed genuinely happy to be with Amy. That's part of what made viewers warm up to him even more. When it came time for the wedding, Chris and Amy decided to have it at Roloff Farms in 2021. That choice surprised some fans because of the complicated history Amy had with the farm. But in the end, they made it work. The wedding was beautiful, emotional, and full of love. Chris played a huge role in making Amy feel comfortable about being back on the property where she had spent so much of her life with Matt. Since getting married, Chris has continued to appear on the show, but he still keeps a lot of his personal life private. He seems to value his independence and prefers a quiet, grounded lifestyle. He and Amy live together in a cozy house in Hillsboro, Oregon. They often share photos of their time cooking together, spending evenings with friends, or traveling around the state. One of Chris's biggest hobbies is riding his motorcycle. He loves road trips and often takes Amy along for rides. He's also passionate about photography and exploring small towns across Oregon. Fans often see him taking Amy to local wineries or scenic spots, and it's clear that he enjoys showing her new experiences. Chris's relationship with Amy's kids has also been a topic of interest. While he's not extremely close to all of them, he's always been respectful. He understands that Amy's family has a long and complicated history, and he doesn't try to insert himself into their issues. Instead, he stays supportive of Amy and lets her manage her relationships in her own way. Viewers have noticed that he never speaks badly about anyone in the Roloff family, even when tensions rise. One of the things people admire most about Chris is how patient he is. Whether it's dealing with Amy's emotional moments or the challenges of being on reality TV, he rarely loses his cool. He comes across as the type of person who thinks before he speaks and tries to find peace rather than conflict. That balance has helped Amy grow even more confident in herself and in her new life after divorce. He's also been a big supporter of Amy's business ventures. From her cooking videos to her book releases and events, Chris is always there cheering her on. He doesn't seem to mind staying in the background while she shines in the spotlight. It's clear that he wants her to be happy and successful in whatever she does. Even though Chris isn't a huge reality star, fans of Little People, Big World have grown to appreciate his presence. He represents stability and kindness in Amy's life, something she really needed after years of ups and downs. Over time, people have realized that he's not trying to replace anyone or change the family dynamic. He's just there to love Amy and enjoy their life together. Today, Chris and Amy continue to share their adventures both on and off the show. They spend time gardening, cooking, and traveling. Amy often posts about how grateful she is for Chris, and fans can see that they genuinely enjoy being together. Their love story might have started later in life, but it's proof that happiness can happen at any age. For Amy, marrying Chris wasn't just about finding someone new, it was about finding peace and partnership. And for Chris, it was about opening his heart to something he never thought he needed. Together, they've built a relationship based on respect, understanding, and joy. Chris Marek might not have grown up on Roloff farms or been part of the show's early years, but he's become an important part of Amy's new chapter. His steady personality, love of adventure, and genuine care for Amy have made him one of the most grounded and likable people on Little People, Big World. In the end, what fans have learned about Chris is simple. He's not in it for fame, he's not dramatic, and he's not trying to take over anyone's role. He's just a good man who loves Amy Roloff for who she is, and that's exactly what she needed. So, what do you think about all of this? Were you surprised to hear about Caryn's baby news? Do you think she and Matt have officially split up for good? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more Little People, Big World updates, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next story.